Hi there, this is Pam. I am going to show you today a review of this new tool. This is from Hampton Arts and it's called the Stamp Perfect Stamp Positioning Tool. It works similar to the other brands that are out on the market. It has the clear acrylic lid, opens up with magnets, which I will first say do not clang your magnets together because they will break. If you can see there, I've broke one already, and I haven't even had this a week. But it doesn't matter, they will still work, even though they're in pieces. So it does have the foam insert. You can use them for cling mount photopolymer stamps, or you can use it for rubber stamps. That's why you take this out for rubber stamps. And it's still magnetized there. So I'm going to show one way to use it with the rubber stamp, and then I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to focus using a background stamp, because when I used to do stamp classes years ago, whenever I would bring in a background stamp, the girls would be like, oh, background stamp, because they didn't like them. They couldn't get a good impression. They were awkward, especially the big wood-mounted ones. Nowadays, you can get the background stamps in cling or photopolymer, so they are a little bit easier to handle, but you still have an issue with getting a good impression. So, what I'm going to show you first is a little rubber stamp, and this is a card that I made. Isn't he cute? So cute. He's from Unity. Brand new Unity kit. So cute. But it is a rubber stamp. All Unity stamps are rubber stamps mounted on cling foam. So I'm going to get him out. And I'm leaving my tool sideways because I don't have room ahead of me there to open my lid for inking. But it works the same way. This is where your stamp is going to go. So wherever you want your stamp, obviously this piece of paper is a little bit too big, but that's fine. This is the full size of front of an A2 size card. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then you stick your magnets down. Obviously, like I said, I broke mine already. But now I have 3, so that works. So put your stamp wherever you want it on your panel there. And then you press down. That gets your stamp stuck onto your lid. I'm going to keep sliding that so you can get it all in the shot. Because sometimes even with rubber stamps, you still don't get a good impression. I'm going to use this ink. It's from Your Next Stamp. It is called Black Olive. I believe it's a hybrid type ink. But it does work with alcohol markers, which is what I use to color my otter with there. But because he's got a big solid nose there, sometimes the ink just doesn't want to stamp it well the first time. So let's see what he does. So he's inked up. Slide that a little. So you bring your lid down, and then you press down, kind of just like you would when you have an acrylic block. Same way, you just have a big lid there. Now he's inked pretty well, but see, his nose still has a little bit of missing. So I'm just going to ink him up again and stamp right over top, because that paper is being held in place with those magnets. That's why it's called a stamp positioner, because you can just keep going over it and over it and over it 2 or 3 times, whatever you need. You can get a nice outline impression on your images. Now, like I said, this is a rubber stamp. You can do the same thing with your photopolymer. So see, much better. Cute. Nice solid nose. So cute. Alright, so let's take him off, and I'll clean him off in a little bit. I do want to do a background stamp. So maybe people that have arthritis, it's hard for them to use a background stamp because sometimes it requires the pressure to get that transfer down. So with this tool, I think that would alleviate some of that. So here's my piece of paper. Now this tool is 5.5. I'm going to say 8. So their ruler starts in a 0 in the center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to say that's 9 inches altogether, but you have at least 7 inches, 7.5 or so inches of stamping. So my paper is larger actually than what I need. And the background stamp is a rubber stamp. Another one from Unity. It's got the foam cling background on it, or backing on it. So it's basically the same concept as using your any other image. I am going to offset it a little bit from the edge just so the stamp doesn't catch the edge, and it is away from my magnets there. So put your stamp, background stamp, the positioning really doesn't require much just because it's a background stamp, and I think you're going to be covering some of that up. And your paper doesn't move, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to use a different color of ink this time around, just because it's a background stamp. Oh, let's just go with the blue here. This is a Stampin' Up! Ink pad that I'm going to use on it. Lost Lagoon, I think that's a retired color. Now this is a foam. This is one of Stampin' Up's new foam ink pads. They're really not new anymore. They've been out for a few years, but the foam pads are nice. But again, let's see, a background stamp. Sometimes people have trouble getting the good impression, and you will never ever be able to re-stamp. Once you stamp it once, you'll never be able to get it lined up with the regular acrylic block. So this will help with that. Let me slide it over so our paper is all in there and it's stuck down. Bring that over and press down. So just kind of the same concept as using a block. This one's a little bit better. Sometimes people take a background stamp and have it facing up and then put their paper on it. That works too, but your paper still can shift, which gives you a little blurry of an image. Sorry, I'm shaking the table. So there's our first one. And see, right here's a little light. Over here is a little bit, and even down in here. So I'm going to re-ink it. Totally leave my paper up in there. The nice thing about your paper is when you put it into the corner and put your magnets down, it will always go back in that spot. So don't move your stamp and don't move your paper in between. And let's re-ink this and see what we get. Because maybe you just want to use the full pattern of the background stamp and only put a sentiment on there, as this background stamp is a pretty pattern. So you could totally just use this with a large sentiment for the front of your card and you're good to go. So we will try this again and we will see if that puts this right back on top of the first stamping, so we will get a better impression. I love background stamps. I do. I use them all the time. Nice. Now see, that covered that light spot there, there, and over there. Double stamped background stamps. Awesome. I will pick this up off of here and get a little bit better view of it on the camera there. Awesome. So again, this is a newer tool. Let me get this stamp off there so I can close that lid back. I did see this online. I can't remember where. It's probably on YouTube in one of my searches. But it's the Stamp Perfect tool. It's from Hampton Arts. And I picked this one up. I don't have a local Michaels store. Michaels stores do carry these, but I said there's not one close by. So I found this on Blitsy.com. I'll put a link down at the bottom of their website. It was $21. So for 21 bucks, that's why I bought it, because I didn't want to fork out the $50 or $100 for the other one. Most retails I've seen everywhere else sell these for like 30 bucks. So definitely get your hands on one of these. They will make stamping so much more easier, so much more better for you, especially the background stamps. And like I said, if you have a cling, I do have a cling stamp, background stamp. I will show you that real quick. You put your foam insert back in. Put your foam insert back in. I'm sure everybody's seen these already, cling stamps being used on this type of tool, but for the background stamp, I don't think I've seen any. Let's just turn that over for the time being. But it's the same concept. This is a background stamp. This one's from Joy Claire. So same thing, you would put your magnets in there. Now, I do want to say with the cling stamps, because they're sticky. They're real sticky. That's just the nature of them. And put your paper down in the corner and hold it down with your magnets. If you bring your lid down and you then get this stuck on there, it will probably, I would say, pull up your paper. Yep, see? Just because the photopolymer is sticky. Not an issue. Put your paper back down in that corner, wherever you start. Ink up your stamp, and then put your lid down. That easy. So I'm happy with this tool. Thank you, Hampton Arts, for making this very affordable, awesome stamp positioning tool. And I hope you enjoyed this video and get some useful tips out of it. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.